and I hate blue books for one. I don't like reading. I don't even know how to write or read. I just monkey fucking typing on the keyboard and shit pops out.
Couldn't
That's
like
a good
90
intro to the lore team.
couldn't 90% of this problem be resolved by slightly changing Blue Book's name? Then just establishing them as a specific unit within this militarized UNAC?
If we established them as a subdivision of UNAC, they would go under UNAC, though.
Well, one of the wasn't.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Even if there was no mention of UNAC being militarized, I don't think it justifies an entirely different GOI to just be the militant wing of UNAC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, part of this is 2 points. Blue Book, from what I remember, is like a rogue. It's a rogue organization. Like the UN created them, and now they do their own thing, and they're destructive. But a lot of this.
No, they're not rogue. They just act semi-independently.
I mean, I thought I saw rogue. It doesn't matter.
If they still get their funding from UNAC, then they aren't rogue.
I don't think they get their
They don't get their funding from UNAC. They are completely separate.
But part of this...
they get their funding from the UN Security Council, which is also where UNAC gets its funding from. It's just like, why?
This is leaning into the...
That Blue Book was founded for a completely different purpose, and it's kind of just stumbled into this field.
I think this leans into the question of what do we do with a GOI that no one writes for and no one's excited to write? Like, no one in this chat's going to write for Blue Book, right? Not a single person. One of you will.
I'm going to write for Blue Book. I will write Blue Book into things.
All right.
Yeah, Vaughn's already written about Blue Book.
I made them space police.
I'm not excited to write about
Red Scorpion's writing for Blue Book. I don't know if I'm currently writing for it. I have like 2 or 3 articles on the back burner.
Interesting.
Articles on the back burner doesn't matter.
I'll put them in my RPG.
Okay, well that makes them canon. Discussion closed.
Yeah, okay, Frodo. I'd like to see you try. I'll write for New Corp before I write for Blue Book. Yeah, okay, Reed.
I think Vaughn might not be wrong by suggesting 90% of the problems, or at least half, come from Blue Book having a really confusing name. Because when you think Blue Book, you think alien conspiracy in the United States, and RPC Blue Book has nothing to do with the U.S.
That's what everyone fucking thought. Thing. That's what everyone thought. Everyone was like, oh, Blue Book, you're going after the U.S. military, you're going after UFOs, you're going after aliens. And then most of the Blue Book articles, if not all of them, are just terrestrial fucking jaunts doing the same shit UNAC does.
Well, you have 3 choices, I guess. Completely change all the Blue Book articles and details so that it's an American organization. Change Blue Book's name or just get rid of it entirely. Whatever.
I mean, you just have to explain it. If you were to say that current RPC Blue Book spawned out of the U.S. initiative and then it became an international thing,
that might.
I mean, you just
that might nicely fit the whole gap we have with an American agency of interest.
I mean,
nicely if we just pivot Blue Book into being the American AOI.
No, don't make it
based on things that are hey, listen. Based on things that are in the works, with a couple writers, the American AOI is probably going to be the Smithsonian, but it's not.
The American
AOI. Don't listen to anything they're talking about with Vapor until they have a single article. They can't talk.
The American AOI will probably be a few organizations. I'm not saying Blue Book is one of them. Just, if you use the name, you have to put it into the backstory so you can point to it. That's like half of this confusion coming from it, because you just use the name because you thought it sounded cool, I think, and it has something to do with aliens. But someone who's more informed...
It explains that on the hub and in the tales themselves. As an American initiative that extended into Canada and then to the rest of the world during the Cold War.
Then you need to sell that better, because I don't think I'm alone in not knowing anything about that.
Yeah, and I
Didn't
don't...
you just say that you can't read? How am I supposed to sell it?
I'm not really, I don't really, like, fucking buy into it, though. Did the fucking UN just, like, purchase this org, then?
You can talk about problems with their portrayal, but then we're talking about quality control, and that's mostly out of lore team's purview. If people are going to write for it, we're not like some
Would it
fucking
really,
lore Gestapo.
like,
We can sit back and
legitimately,
watch.
would it really be a problem to just, like, change it to a US-based organization? Is there any fucking difference? Because the US already acts around the entire world like they're the UN.
No, it
And
fits.
nothing changes.
That's a
Because
discussion
no
for
one's
the
going to
writers
challenge
have.
any US-based organization, because the US will just drone strike them into oblivion. There's no
That's a
difference.
That's a discussion for writers to have, not necessarily us.
I think it
No,
can have
I,
that talk.
I,
I mean,
think
Lupin
we are
is the
conglomerate
GOI
writers,
curator, so-
Scriber. I think we can discuss this.
Like, Lupin is the
I think it honestly
primary
makes
author,
sense
isn't
to
he?
make UNAC an American GOI, have ties to UN, but not be UN affiliated. That way, we still maintain the UNAC Blue Book divide. Then the name makes sense.
Well, listen,
Then their
here's the
international dick waving makes sense. They're just they're the brass in the American Army and the CIA who go in and blow up aliens with laser guns.
Here's the best way to
That's
go
their
about
niche.
this. I think. Here's the best way to go about this. Lupin, can you hear me, Lupin?
Yes.
We need to kill Lupin.
What I don't know who's fucking opening and closing their cabinets.
Oh, Google Chrome
TV.
agrees. Great.
But listen, Lupin, what I think would be best to do is if you, as the GOI creator, relate to us what you think makes. What are the attributes of Blue Book that makes it different from other GOIs like UNAC? What is the driving idea behind Blue Book?
The driving idea, the original intention behind it, was this organization that has some dated history, dating all the way back into the Cold War and even back during World War II and before that, in its American predecessor, that was never dealt with the anomalous, that just stumbled across it in the late 90s. And they completely denounced the idea that an anomaly can even exist. Everything has to be tech-based because all of these years they've worked with high-level tech.
So they're Luddites with laser guns?
Yeah, they don't believe in the idea that anomalies can exist. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from the anomalous, I guess. There was also kind of an element of HFY thrown in there, because I mean that's could be fun to write about.
But what about my space police?
It's nice to get this out in front of the crowd.
What?
We sit here and digest the BB lore.
My God.
People actually care about Blue
So
Book.
so Bosun, you gonna follow up on your probing into what Lupin thinks Blue Book should be?
Well, do we think that's enough to justify it continuing to exist in its current state?
I mean, I'm gonna veto anything.
I had started writing Blue Book before UNAC had even gotten off the ground. Admittedly, Pearson beat me to the punch with the first article. I had enjoyed the idea of this kind of rivalry between the idea of this organization that had nothing to do with the anomalous sphere, kind of butting their way in, that was also part of the UN, and this kind of division between them, which I think is illustrated pretty well in some of the tales that Blue Book is part of.
Well, I'm going to, unless it's for a really good reason, I'll veto out of hand anything that tries to decanonize stuff for the sake of canonizing it for quality control.
I see the idea that it is UN as tertiary, not even secondary, tertiary, whatever. The fact that I don't think it needs to be a UN organization for it to have any of those characteristics. I don't think Blue Book at the moment uses UN characteristics to any real effect other than being able to move internationally. I think overlapping and competing so fucking hard with UNAC is harming both UNAC and Blue Book to the point where neither are getting enough articles to be considered a full GOI. They're both like half GOIs.
The issue is, I mean, I'm fine with completely detaching it from the UN because that's really. There are articles that, for instance, with von Pensier's tale, where a American, a American RPC vessel gets intercepted by Blue Book Soviets.
Interesting.
Because I was under the
kind of this
impression that the
parallel-
Blue Book was part of the UNAC, but I mean, nobody
Oh,
really
so
noticed.
you weren't even aware of what it was.
No,
when
I
you were writing.
genuinely thought Blue Book was the UN alien defense team, and was like, oh, okay, cool, they have spaceships. I want somebody that the ADF can fight.
Well,
But like I said, it doesn't really. I agree that the attachment to the UN is unnecessary. I just.
there's
Well,
two.
look, like,
there's
is
two-
there anything about their lore or their current lore fundamentally that would be largely changed by having them be an American-supported organization who has been known to work with the UNAC but separately from them? Like, does that fundamentally alter anything about the way they are written right now? It preserves the idea that they go out shooting. They don't like anomalies very much. They have a reach that extends beyond the Earth's atmosphere. They are international and they're extremely violent and well funded. Does that does that change anything fundamental about the GOI as written if they're this American alien hunting task force that is like military industrial complexed itself to a ridiculous scale?
No, honestly, I think if you want to rewrite it into kind of an interesting change that doesn't fundamentally change how it works, instead of drawing inspiration from the UN, I got this idea kind of when Blairin brought it up as a U.S. organization, treating it as
Chrome
sort of
likes
like as a Five Eyes equivalent.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a.
Oh wait, like the intelligence sharing organization,
Yeah.
or like Pact?
Yeah, it's Five Eyes was in some vein as that. Five Eyes being the United States, Australia, New Zealand, and France and Canada, I believe.
That doesn't sound like a bad change to make if everybody's okay with it. Blue Book has its own problems. Blue Book has its own problems, mind beyond that, which are part of the reasons nobody writes for it, or not many people write for it. But that's out of the purview of Lore Team. People have to talk about that in their chats.
So,
no, we don't.
No, we
there's
do.
a Blue Book
There's a
chat.
Project Blue Book chat.
So, making a change like that, I think, would work. It would also, the idea of this is a U.S. organization that kind of draws upon other regions also works. That would make sure that Vaughn's tale doesn't get destabilized at all in this instance.
I mean, I'm happy to edit my tale to make it something slightly different. Like, fuck, I'm happy to just change it to the Soviets. Fucking give Iron Initiative a bit more of a shot in the arm.
Yeah.
And Chrome brings up a good point. Like, writers aren't some fucking Pokemon resource we spend around. There's just not a lot of them. A lot of GOIs go through spells where no one writes for them.
We need people. Everybody go out and recruit a writer.
Put a gun to their head, make them write Malthus.
Absolutely. No, make them write ADF stuff.
Dark Fates.
I don't. RPC hasn't gotten really more or less popular. It's kind of. I would say.
Less enthusiasm.
I have statistics. Let me just go.
So,
just pull up
how
these
is
statistics.
this for a premise? Blue Book is an American organization that other countries kind of pay into, similar to how we have transfer programs with various intelligence agencies across the world. It's still primarily based in the U.S., however, they occupy facilities on lone bases across the world.
Sure, you can add all kinds
Like
of
the
depth
U.S.
What? Yeah, it would become a U.S. organization, primarily.
So they were like the experts in the U.S., and as the U.S. consults with other countries about alien stuff, I guess. They bring in the experts, and Blue Book expands its reach. As Vaughn said, they've military-industrial complex their way into great heights. Doesn't sound bad.
Weeks for me.
Could be Blue Book. I mean, yeah, you could tie it to NATO instead of the U.S. instead of the UN.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting angle. It'd be very much Western and then expanded after the Cold War. That's interesting.
Expanded because PCAO couldn't keep their fingers in one pie.
That would actually work quite a bit, and it would still keep up the idea of, America being the largest funder and kind of the initiator of NATO. It would make sense why America also started Blue Book.
So Blue Book hopped the Atlantic and also got into NATO, and now that's sort of like their identity now. Interesting. We have nothing about NATO on the site, I don't think.
Yeah, like Magnolia said.
Is RAVA, is RAVAF still a thing? The RPC volunteer forces in the WW2?
I have no idea. Helzberg just makes those images. I don't know how Canada.
Yeah, like Magnolia said, if you, for instance, not even just take a bit of a step back from space, keeping that in mind as well, it could be treated as a anomalous NATO equivalent in that, the US and the various European powers might get a bit leery at the idea of PCAO and the Iron Initiative and had, started their own organization.
As for the question of RPC's popularity, now that I've pulled up the wiki, we seem to be on a course to definitely surpass last month. So we're not going down. We're just going very, very slightly up. Golf clap.
No, we endure. Not worse nor better.
We need to get a bunch more shitty YouTubers to talk about us.
Yeah, holy shit.
RPC confinement break. Somebody make it.
Can we please get get PewDiePie to just do an hour talking about us? Laren, can you use your incredible wealth?
We just
to
gotta make a
PewDiePie?
shitty game.
Hey, yeah, Google Chrome. Your first article has fucking at least 20 fucking writers. I wouldn't really count that as a fucking measure of greatness.
All right, so Blue Book.
Blue Book, we've
NATO sounds cool. Talk about it.
NATO intelligence-based organization coalition, basically.
Yeah, maybe U.S. origin, but has grown into NATO.
I'm just gonna put Intel coalition.
This is a good idea session.
You can still tie it to the name. Blue Book still makes sense if you tie it to the fact of Blue Book as a organization
started in America.
Like I said, U.S. origin.
Are you taking notes, Blair?
NA-based Intel coalition. Great. I'm not taking notes, but I'm taking resolutions.
All right.
All right, so since we've
I wouldn't even say it's intelligence based. I said kind of like using the idea of Five Eyes in mind, not itself being intelligence based. Though I suppose it could be interesting to tie in, the CIA and MI6 and shit like that to it.
You can
So
figure that
okay,
out later.
here's the just a thought, because you've gotten me historying now. The earliest real predecessor to Project Blue Book was Project Sign, which is started in '48. Goal of the project is to collect, evaluate, and distribute within the government all information relating to UFO sightings on the premise that they might represent a national security concern. What else is the United States doing in 1948? Well, it's working on founding NATO, which is founded in '49. It's working on aid service and rebuilding military bases across Western Europe and up in the Arctic, all over Canada. So have Project Blue Book be this this intelligence on aliens / Soviet flying saucers thing going on.
Wait, hold on. Isn't Roswell 47?
Roswell's
Yes.
47.
Yeah,
yes.
so that timeline works out pretty well too.
Yeah. So and there you have an explanation for why Blue Book has an international reach, because it's all these founding members of NATO got American anti-UFO help. Maybe because, all this was happening while the authorities busy beating the tar out of a bunch of creepy alien-looking things at the South Pole, and the civilized countries have caught word of it. It would make sense for Blue Book to be an international organization associated with NATO, and have their roots be, all the like IRL UFO hunting programs the U.S. did. Just
All right.
spitballing.
Sounds pretty good. Based Elmerder coming up with a GOI idea for something he'll never write about.
Okay, let me. I need to read you the intro because I started recording and I forgot to do an intro, and no one has any idea what we've been talking about for the past 20 minutes because they lack the context. That was about Blue Book as a UN GOI turning into something else because there is already a UN GOI or GOI.
Since we've decided, I guess pretty much, we haven't voted, but since we've pretty much decided that the NATO angle is what we're going with and that we should rewrite it, who is going to be commissioned to rewrite Blue Book? Should we just have Lupin do it? Does he want to do it? Who should we put in charge of that?
It's overall, it's not that big of a change. Like I said, like Blair said, it really was tertiary.
Someone has to
related
do it.
to the UN.
It would be a bunch. It would be a bunch of minor changes. I guess we would need to talk to Red Scorpion, Google Chrome, Lupin, and Von Pincier. Google Chrome, Lupin, and Vaughn have all decided. So basically, all we have to do is talk to Red Scorpion and make sure they actually change their articles so it makes sense.
Right.
So, I think the only thing I can think of that needs to be changed is mention of a Blue Book manufacturing facility in Russia.
Well, that and the hub page.
When did the Iron Initiative collapse?
With the Soviets, supposedly.
Because
Can anyone correct me?
Who knows what Vladdy P's got up his sleeve, you know?
Vegas says a bit before the Soviets collapsed.
Okay. Let's move on to the next thing then.
This sounds like something to hash out in a chat. Time's precious with all these people, and we've done 30 minutes.
I assume those people will need to rewrite the hub and get a new symbol and all that, and then the rest of the articles will follow with the information they have changed. Maybe they can fix the bright white fucking boxes that make it impossible to look at the page, too. Okay. Next on the list is the Gear New Corp merger, which I think most all of us have already decided was...
Alright, I'm gonna unmute Chrome.
Okay.
Speak.
Oh shit, I'm here. Alright. How is this going to work?
So we were just spitballing ideas. One idea that a scriber proposed was making Gear and like a front company of New Corp, like their way of selling items.
But they might have a mind of their own too. So Gear is a unique proxy to baseline. They don't have a Gear. A Gear doesn't exist in RCPA or Remnants or whatever. It exists here for this timeline in New Corp's, because this ties heavily into the New Corp rewriting the lore from a glorified research lab for the Authority. Not even glorified. That's all they are right now. And writing them into something more. And people have been... Talk has slowly progressed on that.
Yeah, in my 013 draft, New Corp is strongly depicted as a multidimensional agency, and that'll be posted pretty soon, so that's going to be canon.
All right.
It's on the way in.
So New Corp is a multidimensional company that sells anomalous technology?
Yeah, the idea is that it's an infinitely big bureaucracy, but because it's so big, they can't actually use their hypothetical research.
Believe it or not, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Can I ask something about Gear? Because I don't know much about Gear.
Sure.
How much of Gear articles and Gear lore in general is really focused on them selling things?
Well, they do sell a lot of things. That's
a lot.
They do sell a lot of things.
At least 75% of their articles.
They do a lot of anomalous sales. For example, there's actually a Gear Blue Book article where Gear sells stuff to Blue Book. And technically does it against the law.
Yeah, like, Gear, correct me if I'm wrong, you might think that the characterization's pretty thin because they're the anomalous capitalists. They're not as immoral as KK. They're more organized than Amazing Co. And they're just there. They sell things.
They sell things and...
Well, that's the thing. When we have both New Corp and Amazing Co. and KK, the Gear GUI is so redundant.
Gear does It is redundant, and I do believe the merger is a good thing, though
And New Corp. New Corp is also stepping on their corporation angle. It's
Yeah, New Corp is. I think merging them is a good idea,
slotted in
but
between.
I think
I
merger
think
is a good idea, but we're going to need to figure out a way to make New Corp just splintered in
Yeah,
order to make it work.
Yeah, the fact that we're talking about it without anybody like raising their hand and saying, "No, please don't merge it. I need them separate."
No, it's
for
a
this
good
reason."
idea.
It's a good idea, so we can agree to. This is good. Lore team
We
agreed
need it,
to do it.
but New
Because
Corp
it would-
needs to be a splintered, multi-dimensional organization that, sure, there's a CEO, but like, they so rarely get communications from him, like the New Corp Router mentioned, that there are two separate branches of New Corp operating here.
What?
What? Like here
Anyway,
in New
we
Corp.
can. Well, now that we've agreed that the merger, that might not be the right word for it, but the merger's happening. As
It's
we
gonna be-
further develop, as we further develop the New Corp rewrite, remitting the lore, we're going to work gear into that now, and those will come as a package. Whether they have two separate entries or they combine into one on the hub, or whatever form it eventually takes, we've agreed that merging is a good idea. The New Corp thing's going forward. Work gear into that. That's the course we're taking now. Of course, no one might ever talk about it again, and it all dies. But we've agreed on this for now.
If it were my decision, I would want gear off the hub.
Just a thought on
That's actually a fair point, Book.
general high concept. What if I see the main problem with a gear gear New Corp merge is that New Corp has been presented as fundamentally friendly and helpful, and gear has been presented as fundamentally antagonistic.
I think I have.
To be fair, New Corp was working with Blacksite on 131.
Let me finish though. Can I
abandoned it?
Yeah.
Can I finish this though?
Yes.
Can I
once
finish
you finish,
my thought?
once you finish your thought, I could propose a solution.
God, thought. Okay, so like, what if this is New Corp and Gear are the same corporation in some form or another. They're this multinational or multidimensional super corporation which is reaching out to our reality for marketing potentials. And for the past 100 years, they've been under the same corporate leadership. And since, say, the 1980s, there's been a major shuffle in this sort of megacorp's board of directors. And now we're dealing with a considerably different team, like the sales team to Earth is still the same people, but they're operating under a very different set of strategic guidelines from up top. So the authority is dealing with this company that used to be very friendly and very helpful and sold them all kinds of useful anomalous tech, and is now pivoting to a much more hostile interpretation of what it means to market anomalies to Earth, and trying to deal with the consequences of.
Or gear always existed. Well, the thought is that that's a good idea, Vaughn, and I'll try to write that down for when we have the discussions. But also bear in mind, the way New Corp is organized plays a big part into this, and that's not fully decided yet. One of the ideas thrown around, and this is just an idea, is that some weird quirk of the multiverse, New Corp is something that exists, like gets created, and then it contacts its alternate selves. It's not actually like a web going throughout the multiverse. It's these little individual spores that crop up, and of their own coincidence, they all contact each other, and they're like. So a lot of this is sort of like banter between equals, and like board members screaming at each other over transdimensional telephones, and gear would be. They might be less friendly because they're the ones that have to deal really with the difficulties of selling in this world dominated by the authority, or where the authority has influence. And also, again, bear in mind, New Corp being friendly and Gear being mostly hostile, we're reworking so much of those two, especially New Corp, that might not be the same thing. So we'll see.
I'll say the New Corp hub doesn't involve the multiverse stuff at all. So if we do rewrite that, then that's the chance we'll have to merge Gear into the hub.
Yeah. So, can I talk about my proposed solution?
Sure.
All right. My proposed solution is that New Corp is just so big and hard to manage that there are straight up two separate teams trying to market to Earth that can't communicate to each other efficiently. And as such, this is the result.
That's something. Bring it up when we talk, because we're not going to have a single solve-it-all solution right here, right now in the meeting. This is something we'll decide a month from now in a chat. So all these ideas are good, but none of them are going to be final.
I'd like to stick around after the meeting if anyone's willing to discuss that more.
Yeah, I'd love to too.
I have to discuss some more. I'm the gear leader.
Based.
All right, all right, what's next on the list? Oh wait, no, you guys are gonna have to meet again.
Blair, are you there still?
No, I know what's next, boys.
Oh no, is it making Sinanacus the canon god of it RPC?
No, it's containment tone. No, actually, it's AEP total decanonization.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking. All right, that will be fine. AEP plays a minor role in the articles it's in.
Seems like Blair's not here right now.
Yeah, who cares?
No, I'm here.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
I had to grab my food. What did you ask?
We're moving on to the next thing on the list you posted, which was decanonization.
We can let's talk about a quick one and get it out of the way. On events and their rapidity, which we've already discussed, events are happening a little too frequently. Kara Isling, despite I think everyone objectively agreeing that Kara Isling was the best event we've ever had.
If you're part of the peanut gallery, and if you think events happen too quickly, just post something to that effect. It's nice to see evidence.
I agree with the events happening too quickly. Though,
Kara Isling got like half the posts of Sub Vesuvia, despite it being literally the best event, and that's due to just shit being pushed out too early, and we really wanted to rush it out for the anniversary. Yeah. It should have been staggered.
I think that for next year, things are going to be a lot less cramped because we're not doing April Fool's contest, and I expect it'll be around time to do the 1,000 contest at the end of the year or at the beginning of 2022.
Can you do a quick check how many left before Series 1 is over?
I checked. We have like 650 articles right now, RPCs right now, so it's like we're like, what, 60, 70% of the way there?
The success of events depend on how I mean, like, Vizlox. I could very easily see the next event pulling 40 articles. Could you?
No, I couldn't. Maybe 30.
I think you're wrong.
We need more writers!
You mean
the one that's in the works now that you're planning on releasing in a month?
Okay, yeah, that one, yeah, I agree. It could get as much as 40.
30 is a good guess, but this isn't a gambling table.
I think everyone will write 2 articles for the
I'm betting the containment tone on 40.
I will try to write an article.
I'll see your containment tone and raise you an ADF article about the ADF all falling into a black hole and never coming back.
No, my astronaut.
On
what
to the
we
next.
were talking about?
We're talking about
total decanonization.
Vizlox, how many problems do you think would be solved if I wrote a black site tone?
How would you even write a tone? You'd have to write a tone for each department. Got a mnemonics tone, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, for AAP, I think we should try... There's probably a couple that are articles in there that are good enough that we could move them into New Corp, talking to the authors. And then the rest, we can move to the non-canon section. I think we should talk to the authors of AAP to at least see if we can get a majority of them agreeing that it should be moved to non-canon.
The idea would be...
See, well, here's the thing. The biggest problem for decanonization of AEP, at least...
You're cutting out.
We couldn't hear you.
He's dead.
Hello?
He's fucking dead.
He's gone.
Right, okay.
Who are the AEP articles primarily?
Definitely one's Chrome. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm the only one who's written it. I'm not even that invested in it.
There's also the stuff with failsafe in AEP.
Like, I can write it out articles I'm like. So I don't care. You could delete it. It wouldn't affect me that much. I just have to delete an article I don't like.
If we decanonize AEP, then we need to write new articles for failsafe that actually describe what the fuck Anders was.
Yeah, we're gonna... Well, he could just be Malthus. Malthus is supposed to be the main
That's true.
antagonist.
Malthus
So just
is a
have
big bad guy.
Yeah, because
That actually ties a lot into.
Isn't like
Mal-
failsafe? They nuke the site. AEP nukes the site, and then just like the way I write it, a bunch of Malthus guys and their fucking hobo vans roll up.
Yeah, so
And
just
they
be
Yeah,
Malthus.
Bosun wanted it to be retconned as Malthus, which ties into what I was going to say with the failsafe rewrite. That I want to do a big overhaul of the hub to actually capture the aspects of it that were written about, and I want
Yeah.
Bosun to help with it since he has done basically nothing on lore projects for the last year.
Mhm.
Oh shit!
I think that he should help it if he wants to stay on,
Right, mind if I?
and if he stays on, I also want Blaren to help with it since he has a good vision of the event.
I have a
And
broken arm.
if
Fuck
Bosun
you.
does help with it and stay on lore team, then we should add Lupin on to balance out the numbers back to an odd number at
Yeah.
7.
You mind?
The
comment?
only time we'd really have the motivation and the drive to actually complete a failsafe rewrite would be if everyone votes for the Appalachian Conference event, which everyone who's in the contest DM thinks that the Appalachian event is going to lose to the other event we're working on.
I think it's going to be very close. It could go either way. It's
Yeah,
going to be like the last one.
It's been through 2 votes. It puts up a good fight every time.
It does. It's always second place. It's always second place.
I know,
If
it
it's
might
Thailand,
push
right?
it over this time. We'll have to see. But I want to say that I think that the reason that Failsafe hasn't gotten a rewrite is because the theme is terrible and the hub is terrible. I think if we rewrite those, I make an actually good theme for it. It'll get the ball rolling on people polishing up their old Failsafe articles.
Did you just hit Pearson made the theme?
Yeah, Pearson made it, and it's completely broken. I made it.
The
Oh
hapless
man,
operator-
the barely fucking disguised hatred for all things Pearson Vizlox. Jesus.
Wait, so Failsafe is going to become the Malthus iceberg now.
The hapless operator cabal, and maybe the man himself actually had some good ideas for failsafe. So I'll keep those on the back burner, put them in when it's time to discuss. Stuff about dirty bombs and just making the whole thing a little less offensive to logic.
Fair enough.
Are we going to talk to Ezekiel about whether or not we're decanonizing his AAP?
Does
Failsafe
anyone
article?
talk to Ezekiel?
He hasn't been in RPC for months.
I don't think he cares.
I have his contact.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get around to it later. But for now, we say to total decanonization, yes.
Yes,
Hey,
do it.
Rewrites. Yeah.
What?
Oh
What?
my god. Did he cut out again?
Boaston, you cut out just as you got all of us silent.
Bosun is dead.
My phone ran out of battery.
Poor.
What did we discuss about failsafe?
We would like to rework it in the future and make it more focused on Malthus and just editing the details of it to be better.
Did you not hear what I said about you on lore team, Bosun?
No.
Okay,
Because my phone ran out of battery.
I said that I want to do a rework for the failsafe hub, and I want you to help with it since you have done basically nothing for lore projects in the last year. So you can stay on lore team by helping out with the
You
project.
can thank me for making
And-
Malthus the failsafe GUI. Thank you, Islam.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I brought up. That's why I said it was so relevant. But then I also want once you stay on lore team, we can add Lupin
The
on
biggest
to balance it out at 7
The
members
biggest
again.
problem with it, though, is that, and I would have mentioned this in the last 5 minutes if I could, but and people talked about this. Most of the AEP stuff is mentioned in articles by people like Ezekiel who have left, and so I'm not sure how we'll
Yeah, we'll have to talk to them.
go about changing their article.
I mean, I don't think those are salvageable. Ezekiel's, we'll just have to decanonize them if he doesn't want to come back and rewrite them himself.
Well, that's the other problem, is that a lot of the later articles of failsafe are based on the earlier tales that Ezekiel wrote.
We'll have to dive into this. We're not going to
Yeah,
give
just
any
change it to
answers.
Malthus.
The actual rewrite of the event is going to happen after reworking the hub page, so we don't have to worry about that immediately.
We'll see. Well, before we move on too quickly from failsafe and from AEP, actually, somebody in chat brought up decanonizing Navaldi too, and actually decanonizing.
They only have
Navaldi, not...
2 articles.
How
Yeah,
is he not
like-
decanonized?
We
I
don't
mean,
need to decanonize them. We just need to write into the
I
nihil
thought he
hub
said
Exactly.
Vivaldi for a
that
second.
Navaldi is effective nihil, and then get rid of all the Navaldi blurb on the less.
It's not so much decanonizing as it is reworking all their shit, which isn't a lot, and kind of merging it into Nihil. Almadirk brought it up. He says there's only one article where it plays a decent role in, and the author, who was Kaiser, said that he has no trouble removing it. And Alma and Rhoda, and perhaps some others, have some ideas for merging it with Nihil. It's basically just scrubbing the mentions of a weird Navaldi GOI that doesn't exist anymore and never will, and just merging it into something that does exist.
He said he wants to do something with Navaldi and remnants, and he's elaborating on it in chat.
Interesting. Well, basically, blessing.
Well, I'm down for anything new involving remnants, so yeah, that's cool by me.
Just give them the open season to contact Navaldi
on the broken timeline. Navaldi,
please,
Eldritch.
Anyone listening, write for remnants, please. We need to save it. It has the best logo of all the GOIs. Please.
Have you read the Obama article?
The what?
The Obama article that's hard for remnants.
I have. I've read it.
He said he's going to add some stuff to it soon.
Gaskino is soon.
That was my idea!
You sure it wasn't Dad Ops?
No, I'm certain, because Qual screamed at me for making fun of Fake's black president.
You.
Okay, so Navaldi's
I
good.
did not scream at you for making fun of black
Next
president.
topic, and I'm going to detonate my own suicide vest here, containment tone.
I want containment tone.
Ascriber, I think knowing the full context of what is happening in the future, if you do not get a team and work together on containment tone and just make it at least as good as research tone, which is literally adding 5 fucking
it's reskinning the fucking categories and adding a purple tint. That's research tone. We can do that for.
Well, I think it's also giving them examples of what off the cuff.
Yes.
What I want, the point of containment division is that it's a hodgepodge of a bunch of different departments that basically have nothing to do with each other, but work and flesh together thematically. Yes. So I think that to actually capture that, we can't just have a containment tone. We need to have tones for at least a couple of the departments.
Yes, ideally we'd have tones for a couple of the departments. We'd also have chunks of CSS you could put into your article. So
I'd be fine making that.
I literally can't remember the name of the article that I wrote myself, but it was for the random hazard event. It's the one where I write the N-word, and the maintenance union has a part in there. And in an ideal world, you'd have a CSS chunk that where the maintenance union in universe in the article has a report on the shit that goes wrong, and it's just in a little text box. You'd have that have its own CSS. It'd have a little background. It'd look cool. It'd look convincing. Like somebody scribbled it out onto a notepad, tore it out, and then put it through a scanner for the bureaucracy later on. And elements like that. And yes, I will get onto that. And if that doesn't work out, I will exile myself to backrooms. And that will be that. Very grim.
I'm willing to help you if you want.
Thank you, big boy.
Oh, Vaughn is very smart. I'm sure Vaughn would help with the AEDF tone.
Yes, he would. And that's, holy shit, the ADF is the astronauts, the janitors, the engineers.
Yeah, I'm going to help out a ton with the component tone. The component are my boys.
Right, so I'll get the boys together. I actually have time to think now, and that will happen. I'm canceling the suicide vest detonation for now.
Okay. I really do hope you get that done. And preferably you get it done in the next month, which is 17th of November. Even if you have to shove all the work off onto Vizlox, I won't blame you.
I will gaslight
Vizlox, the more I hear them talk about containment tone, the more I think that making a black site tone would actually solve a lot of problems. Because how many people come to you about black site questions every single fucking day?
How would a tone answer their questions?
Well, yeah, obviously we would answer the questions by making the tone.
What? It doesn't answer anything.
Why doesn't that answer anything?
What I like about Blacksite is every Blacksite article is a stupid format screw, and none of them are similar. So I think making a tone for them would make that worse. I think it's part of the charm that they're all over the place.
It's part of the charm that people keep bothering us with questions about.
No one bothers you about questions for Black Site.
Decanonize Black Site, execute all the writers.
Well, what's even worse
Show
about
me a
the bothering
single
me for
message
Black
of someone
Site-
asking you a question about Black Site. A single message.
The thing that I don't like about people asking about Black Site is that what they'll do is that they'll come to Vizlox about it, and then say, "Yeah, I contacted Bosun, but he didn't answer my question." When they didn't, when no one says anything to me, and then they go to Vizlox pretending that they asked me.
Are you?
They
We
didn't.
don't have time for thating me.
Bosun, you literally every time I ping you in RPC,
I would
you
answer
don't
any
see the
Black
ping.
Site questions that people want to ask me. They just don't. I don't know why.
Bosun, you don't check your pings. You log
Yes, I
onto
do.
Discord, see that you have ping
No, you
notifications,
don't.
just click it off, and don't actually see
No,
what people
what
are pinging
evidence
you.
do you have of that?
You've ignored my pings like
Okay.
3 times.
If you
When I went
insist
to
on
ask you about
Black
it,
Site
you were like, "What? You
Relevant
didn't ping
point
me."
here from chat. I'm digging up chat here. Two points on Black Site in chat. One of them is calling it a gang stalking operation. More relevant is that somebody says the hub is garbage, and you got an upvote from Bobby's, which means.
Does it even have a hub?
I've wanted to do a remake of it for a while.
All right, so you guys are aware that the hub is supposedly bad. I don't know. I've never.
Hey, so
Nothing on it. It's just a list of the articles. Basically.
hey, my Negroes. Okay, that is the end of my referendum. If any lore team members have anything to bring up, you can bring it up now, and then we can move on to shitty fucking plebeian tribunes.
Proletariat.
Yeah. Let me say this as a lore team member. If you have questions about Black Site, feel free to ask me instead of going to Vizlox and then complaining that you asked me even though you didn't. Okay.
Yeah, and
Hey,
I will
Bosun, I got a
answer your
question for you.
questions if you ask me.
you
I got a
check your
question.
pings too.
Why should I care about Black Site?
Okay, all right. Does anybody have points they want to bring up before we let the frauding Mazes speak?
Yeah. Anything?
Because
anyone,
I've been-
any of the lore team members.
Why should I care about Black Site?
People are fucking begging in chat to review Soy, so.
Oh, sons of like for canonization, or for killing them? For canonization, okay. Do they have 10 articles? Which is wait, it's not 10. Fuck. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna not stop digging my own grave here.
Wait, for GOIs, it's 5 articles and 5 authors, or 7 articles and 3 authors.
It
And
has
then there's
7.
also a few other general requirements. I'm gonna pull it up and read it.
So, if if you say it meets the requirements, and do double check that, because I don't want to review this and find that it doesn't
Let's
meet
see.
it at all.
It needs to be able to stand on its own, which I think it does. It's not like tied to a different group. It needs to be fleshed out and developed enough to have coherent, enjoyable content. I haven't read its article, so I don't know.
Yeah,
and
so-
it can't be overly generic or similar to an existing UI, which I'm pretty sure it's not.
No, it's not. So,
I think it
Something
does meet the article count requirements, so just whether or not it's fleshed out and developed enough.
yeah, so that's something lore team needs to review.
Don't
Put our votes in.
isn't
go
one
through
of
the
our
process.
isn't one of our new requirements that you have to have a hub page ready if you want to be canonized?
Yes.
Do they have a hub page?
Yeah, they
They
need
have
to
one,
make a
they
hub.
say.
first.
Okay, post the hub page then.
Send
Yeah,
a link and I'll repost it in lore chat. On
Yeah, the hub needs to be posted to the main site before we add it to the list.
Does it? I
Which
thought it
hub?
was
No,
just
no, they
okay
just
to
have
have
to
in the
have it.
sandbox. Yeah,
They
they
just
just have
have to
to
have
like
No,
have
you
one
can
ready to
you
vote.
can no, it needs to be posted to the main site so that we can actually link it from the GOI page to the main site.
No,
I mean,
well,
no, they need
don't
to
have
have
them.
it-
Don't have them post a hub until they're canon. Why
No,
would
but
we just
there
let
are
them post the hub if they're not
no
canon?
people are supposed to post hubs beforehand. We have hubs for like basically every non-canon GOI that's good.
Well, then let's adjust the rules here real quick and make it
Oh
so
my
that
god,
we can
no!
just-
Soy fucking meets requirements?
We don't know if it has coherent and developed content yet. That's the one thing we need to review. If I read all of its articles and they're all filled with ESL errors, then I'm not going to call that enjoyable content, which is part of the requirement.
All right, link posted in lore chat.
It's literally Satasi's kin except for plants.
I had no idea people were writing for it, frankly. It was always this
They have
meme
6 articles.
channel.
How many authors do they have? How many different people wrote the 6 articles?
Let's see, Chrome did. Alex, we need to actually check the articles to see if they would count for the tag as well, because it looks like it might just barely meet the requirements.
Fucking ball! God damn it!
Looks like there's a Red Scorpion article.
This sounds like something we need to discuss in chat. From what I recall,
Well, no, lore team are the people that canonize these, so we should do this well in a lore team.
Actually,
yes,
it looks
definitely.
like 6 authors.
We're the ones that do it, but
Yeah,
Each
I
one's by a different
assumed it
author?
was like
Shit.
half of them were written by Alex, but no, it looks like most of their articles are just written by one-off writers for the GOI.
so are we going to spend the time to actually read through them right now, or will we put it off, read through it, and then
Put it off.
vote
Put it
on
off.
it? Make an assumption.
We have other things
still
on
want
the
to get to the
referendum.
New Corp discussion after the meeting.
So it's our responsibility as lore team members to read them and deliberate well and all that gay shit.
All right.
Okay.
Or like read a couple of them. and get
The
a
thing that
sense.
Elmer took posted was
Wait, actually, we
is there
probably
any
better
chance
if
we can
we...
lower the requirements for alternate realities? I say no.
Yeah, no.
Alternate realities. They're still. I'm saying these things and I think they're true, but I'm just saying them anyway to review. Alternate realities are just remnants in RCPA, and they're both canon. They're both in the single canon. They're just in their own reality.
Yeah.
And to get their own special hub page, because you can write stuff in as many alternate realities as you like, but to have your own hub page, you need an autistic number of articles, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
We don't want to make this easy to get. Right?
I mean, it's
The-
not about a
The
hub page.
reality, right? It's not
The
about
po-
the hub page. The
It's
reality.
about staying on the page, having a blurb on the page. We
Yes.
talked about it before, and the idea that I had that Big Boy and Biggest seemed to agree with was having the actual remnants in RCP on there as big blobs, and then having a bunch of minor alternate realities in a list.
That'd be interesting.
Like we could
Yeah,
have the Howler's reality.
Because the point of making it onto the AR list of the big entry is that your alternate reality has themes. It has its own character.
I
Enough
think
so
we
that
should-
people write. Hey, don't interrupt me.
Sorry.
Enough so that people can write for it. That people can write for the reality, its themes, its character, and that's why it had. So, and once you get to like 10 articles, which is a lot, mine, that's pretty good proof that it exists. People write for remnants, write for RCPA for that.
I think
That
for-
said, I think the small list has some merit as an idea.
for the small list, I think we should be a lot less about article count and author count and more about the actual development of the alternate reality.
So what are you thinking? Like a whole list of collapsibles, and if you think the name looks cool, you click it, and there's a description of it. and
Yeah,
like
there's
two
some,
articles
there's some
in
of
it.
them. There's some of them that have enough content that can have like a smaller blurb, but not enough to have a full thing like RCPA and remnants. And then the stuff that only has like 2 or 3 entries that are not very expansive can all be in a collapsible in a list.
Interesting.
So basically, the difference between the list of all MSTs and the MST registry.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
on the same page.
and it's very clear that the ones on the top have the most development, the most articles, the most developed themes, the most developed setting, and then the ones below less so. And some of them are just cataloging that they exist, and some of them are trying to work their way into becoming a big official third member of the triumvirate.
Yeah.
I like that. That's an
Until
idea
you
we
get down
can.
the
That's a
deepest,
solid
darkest
idea.
depths of New Corp. Mm-hmm.
Indeed. I'm going to cover 16 alternate realities, sentence apiece, and they'll all make it onto the list. My
We had
new
every
tale.
single reality from Fifth's Tower article all on there. It must have been
Basically, so this would be an author initiative thing. So if you want to have your thing be put onto it, then you apply or get it edited in, and that's that. This isn't staff and lore team isn't sitting around trying to catalog autistically all of our alternate realities and put it on. This is an author-led thing.
That's fine.
All right, I'm fine with that because I don't want to put more work on staff. Not to mention, if you want it on there, your prerogative.
Okay.
I'll write up some like basic requirements to put on the Canon Hub for being like having a small blurb and or being in the condensed list.
Sure. I have a couple minor ARs I could put in. Would we use that like decimal like identification system that you've seen in some alternate realities? Who came up with that? Was it you, Vizlox? Like the alter ALTR?
Yeah, that's me. That was from 202.
Interesting. I don't know about using that for the rest of them, but it's an idea.
If that's going to be the new system, I'll have to edit 313 because I used a different.
Yeah, whatever.
It doesn't matter.
It seems like it's becoming the standard.
Well, I don't mind editing it. I'm just asking.
Yeah, we'll decide about it.
I mean, it's already the standard on the alternate realities page.
Okay. All right.
Is there anything else?
In regards to soy, would it be better if we divided up the articles having to be read? Because if we all have to read them all like really thoroughly, it's going to take longer.
Yeah, no, that's autistic, but let's divide it up.
Okay. I mean, I'm just gonna read a couple of them and then skim the rest.
Okay.
I think that would be better.
Do any other lore team members have things they want to bring up, deliberate, argue?
I do not.
I don't.
I don't.
Okay. We will open it up to the grueling masses.
Okay, if you have something you want to bring up, raise your hand.
After we go through this this like moderated portion of it, and once the meeting's over, we can just move to general and argue with the plebs there. And I think some of us wanted to talk New Corp after too.
No. GOI freeze 2. When? Are we going to have another GOI freeze? We'll merge into GOI.
The requirements are stricter now. You actually have to be a coherent GOI. You can't just shit up a GOI onto the page.
That was the thing that I always brought up during the GOI freeze. Was like, why freeze them when you can just make the requirements stricter?
Yeah, I think our requirements are really solid now. We wouldn't need a freeze.
We're in a good place now. Also, the community kind of self-polices people with shitty GOIs.
Blaren implements a GOI freeze just so Sons of Yggdrasil won't become candidates.
But then we wouldn't get to Anomalous.
Very grim.
Minimalist.
Can I bring up something?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully my mic doesn't cut out randomly. I just wanted to bring up the divisions and the lack of work that's been done around them.
Yes, that's
because generally, like, research is the only division that's you could argue vaguely is alive because most relevant members of this community has that. And it also was the biggest, but containment is effectively dead. The scriber kind of went off to RPC. Protection is dead. No one's there. Administration is pretty dead because me and Pearson don't know where to take it. And there's a problem about there's not really anything going.
Okay, so that's a pretty solid summary. Research exists, and the main writers are still there. Research is far and away not their main thing, but they're there. Containment exists. Yeah, that's right. I don't write for it much anymore, but I do write about it. And the themes of containment, boy howdy, people know that they're the janitors. It's amazing what art does for it. But it could use a lot more work, and hopefully it gets revitalized by working on the
thing about protection
that's all I'll say on it. And I was about to say what you're going to say, which is that protection is dead because all their writers left.
Well, all of the military law writers left, which is one problem.
No, you still have Mark and Blair.
And we only lost a single protection article.
Mark is literally dying of Chinese flu.
I wrote the only fucking protection format RPC.
Fuck you, I wrote the only protection format tail.
But my thing is, can Lore Team discuss ways to like get people reinvested into these and completing them? Because there's still a lot of ways.
Oh, don't worry, Qual. Yeah, we have it. It's coming.
We have plans.
It's coming.
Okay,
don't worry. By December, Qual, you will see. We have the biggest fucking plan ever to revitalize the divisions, and by the end of it, I can guarantee you every division will have more articles than New Corp.
If that day does come, I'll marry you.
Yay.
I'm not marrying you, so don't make that bad.
Well, except administration. That doesn't
The
count.
administration is going to die.
It's not
Administration's good.
Blacklight is more of a division.
There's even an argument for decanonizing administration if nothing happens in a year, because literally one guy wrote it, got it through, and then he doesn't. He's not here anymore.
Well, I mean, I fought against administration and told you to put it in containment, but no one listened, and I'm not gonna let you guys fucking go back on it because I was the only one with fucking foresight. It's staying.
I will remind you that the only reason why administration got through in the first place was because of the theme originally. It was the only reason it got noticed.
The guy put together a coherent hub, and all of us were dazzled by it.
I mean, I think what would make sense is if we stop calling it administration division and just call it the Presidium, and have it be like the encompassing thing of the global directorate.
Right, but the part that irks me is that the divisions was meant to be 3. It was always built as 3. They counterbalance each other out. There wasn't one. The global directors were at the top, but a lot of the members of the GDs were division heads and officials. So there was this balance of power that happened, and they cooperated. Having administration just be at the top reduces a lot of the depth to that setup. I don't like it, because the divisions were not made for 4. They were made for 3. And this 4th got tacked on because a guy made a cool-looking hub, and now nothing happens with it anymore. No one writes
currently.
I mean, to be fair, you can argue the same thing for containment.
But hell no, it was there since the beginning. That is a poor argument to make.
Containment isn't on the top.
Containment isn't on the top. Containment's at the bottom of the
admin code.
There is no top and bottom. They all stand level with each other. They just fulfill different tasks.
Admin's at the top for just contrived reasons. I don't like it because the divisions are made as 3.
Admin is the only one that has genuine fucking superiority. If you're a colonel in the army, some fucking fucking upper secretary probably has priority over you.
If I can make a point, the division department's hierarchy is not the same as personnel hierarchy. Those are 2 different things. I probably should have clarified them, but that was a separate project that never got through. Second off, I would like to make the point that administration does have more depth that is written onto the site than containment does. It both has hubs on it, of which containment really has none, and a theme.
What are you talking about? Have you not read a single AEDF article?
Or Sean's Bizarre Adventure still stands after all these years.
Yeah, true.
Point is, the divisions were made to be a balance between the 3. They cover for each other's weaknesses. And then administration just exists at the top. Are they the lackeys of the GDs? Were they always there? Because I do not like it.
What's hilarious, though, is that the one thing that the admin division doesn't have shit over is Blacksite.
And Blacksite is its own thing. And
can you and Bosun please stop bringing up Blacksite? No one cares about Blacksite.
Thank you.
Do you guys mind if I join in, or should I be permanently muted now that Gear's done talking with?
You can talk. We're in the community discussion aspect.
Don't make an ass of yourself, and you won't get muted. That's how community members getting unmuted to talk about specific things, and then they get to.
Well, I don't plan to talk about anything and be an asshole. I don't know. I think admin shouldn't really exist. It has no point at the moment. I don't see any real potential in writing a story about administration. Just they stay safe. They don't have someone from administration.
The entire point of administration is that it does all the boring shit like accounting and whatnot.
But that was containment's job. It still is. Administration literally just balances checkbooks, and that was taken from containment.
I think containment should just get administration's duties.
I'm fine with there being an office under the GDs that work with coordinating everything and liaising everything, but they shouldn't be an equal to the 3. It's always been the 3. When people talk about the divisions, they're almost always talking about one of the 3. They're not talking about administration.
Yeah, I don't think administration should be a division, but if it were to be renamed Authority Division, that might be different because it's called the RPC Authority. It's the only division that has its full
Oh,
name.
fucking...
God,
I like
the
the name
authority
for Presidium. That's what it says on the theme. It's not. It doesn't even say Administration Division. It
Yeah,
says,
I think isn't there like I'm my own sins are coming back here, but part of the reason it's named administration is so it fits into RPCA.
yeah, I think so.
Because RPC, that's the acronym, 3 divisions, 3 letters, but then you can kind of tack on A, authority, administration.
The
I
authorities
just
of
don't think they're an equal to the other 3. They upset the balance by being an equal and being portrayed as one. And when I write, I basically pretend administration is just the lackeys of the GDs. And they're like event liaisons. I'm basically ranting about this to see how the community reacts. And for now, it seems that there's no great administration simps in the audience.
I'm seeing black site plus admin equals gay. It's like the amount of what people have said about admin in chat.
Because the guy who wrote admin and had a really cool vision for it is gone. He'll never write about it again. And admin was meant to be like dudes who fucked over Malthus sex with finances by freezing banks and seizing assets, because you can do scary things with money in real life. But it doesn't exist anymore. No one's going to write with that kind of depth because nobody has his vision. He can't share it. He's gone.
Did he
I
talk
just
about
don't like. And by the way, if anybody has an actual thing to talk about besides this, they want Lore Team to talk about here, please put it in the chat. I'm sort of trying to fill the space here by talking about how administration isn't an equal to the other 3.
By the way, Scriber, I don't think this genuinely discounts containment from doing all of those things. I think certainly quartermaster shit still falls under containment's breadth.
Well, quartermaster shit falls under all 3 to an extent. Like, containment does a lot of the bulk stuff, but
Excuse me?
what?
I think if you're talking about main quartermaster stuff, why isn't that protection? Protection is the one
I
who
was
holds the
about to
cards.
say each division handles their own shit for the specialist stuff. So protection does have quartermasters that requisition guns and ammunitions and munitions and missiles and whatever they need. They also have their own sort of human resources pipeline where they recruit. Containment handles a lot of bulk stuff. They are the logistics guys, but there are specialists in other divisions. Certainly research has its own cadre of people that are getting together, regents.
Does Protection Division send recruiters to high school?
I don't think so. I'm afraid that's not canon.
I think they just kind of go and see any vet that just kind of down their luck. Hey, you want to join Protection Division? It's a horrible job, but you're not going to starve to death.
They probably have pipelines in a couple of militaries that have close relations with the authorities, with the authority, and a lot of it is really almost nepotistic. Guys recommend people they know. Every division's like that. You're not going to find a recruiter. You're going to probably get an email from your cousin or you're the guy you knew in boot camp or whatever, talking about an opportunity. People who know you.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think you should merge administration containment. You should just reduce administration so it's not an equal division. It is like the GDs. They're the GDs' boys. Bob, yes, I'll kill you.
Yeah, as you were saying, yeah, we're not merging it. It's
No, administration has too good of a hub to not exist.
yeah, well, we missed that fucking train a long time ago when you guys got apparently dazzled by the fucking administration thing, and you were like, no, that can exist. Oh, fuck! Containment! It doesn't have anything now! Who could have seen this happening? If only one of us had the foresight!
Excuse me.
Containment has a lot already.
Do you mind if I
Which doesn't have a
chirp
lot of
in
articles.
a little bit again?
Chrome, you have to talk over us and then make your point. Asking for permission every time is
I'm
a
gonna.
delay.
All right, I'm
Just
just gonna
speak.
talk over you right now.
Yes.
Are you guys seriously sunk cost fallacying over administration division? Just cut it out. Even if the theme is good,
It has a
just
lot
cut it out.
of actual content that people have written for it. We can't just get rid of it.
Where's the content? I haven't read a single thing that really involves administration.
I mean,
I'm
you
just
can have-
saying reduce its stature so it's not equal to the 3. Because divisions has always been synonymous with 3 to me.
And also, I have a technical question about the RPC site. I am having a problem where I can't actually log in.
Yeah.
Oh, there's on the front page. There's a news section. The oldest news one has a link to where you can log in from.
All right, so, all right, thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
Oh, there, I'm now logged in.
Does anyone have any? It looked like Qual has something to talk about. Qual is having a mental breakdown. Qual? Sakari wants you to look at his fucking logo so fucking badly.
Is that for failsafe?
Yes.
That's terrible.
Oh, the airbrush glow around the edges.
It wouldn't be bad as the top icon though, you know?
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, icon that
It would
shows
be,
up in the
if
Google
the
Chrome tab.
airbrush thing was removed, it would be okay. But
What's the
that's
current?
main thing I don't
you
like.
have to make it red, Zukari.
Okay,
Make
yeah,
it red.
that looks okay. I don't want it
God.
to be red.
It has to be red. That's the current logo on the page for failsafe is red. That's the color scheme. He has to make it red.
You have to make it red.
You have to
Now
make
draw it. Now draw it red.
You're legally required.
Make it red. Okay, Claude, you had something? Go ahead.
Anyways, I need to pop off. See you, lads.
See ya.
Alright, goodbye.
While Claw's typing,
Cloth has a suggestion that we need a list about some of the most well-known RD. Do you mean research directors?
Well-known what?
RD. Yes, just says RD. Regional directors.
It's just, no, yeah, that's okay. I thought he meant research director.
Yeah, we can't write a single fucking POI, buddy. I don't know what you expect from us.
I think that's a bad idea because forcing people to write characters results in shitty characters. It's a good... Oh, just names? I mean, what, so you want consistency between articles? That's an idea. I mean, I'm more... If I were to write a regional director, I wouldn't include their name at all. It'd just be the RD. RD Africom, RD Northcom, whatever. But, yeah, we can discuss it further.
Laren, could you go over the resolutions we've made?
Gear will be merged into New Corp. No, yes, that is correct. On events and their rapidity, they will be reduced with the removal of a contest. Blue Book as a UNGOI. It is going to be turned into a NA-based Intel/NATO coalition. AEP total decanonization. Yes, we've agreed on that. Rewrites of AEP and failsafe pending. Containment tone, work begins, and divisions in general, content planned. You want me to type it out? Oh, no, you talk to Alex. Are the global directorate page going to be a thing? No.
No, that's gay.
Giving any, like, characters someone can hijack and basically, like, you're like, oh, this character's so cool.
He's my 18-year-old female GD who speaks 17 languages and will save the world.
Wait, hold on. Alex Burster, is GD7 Mark Twain?
Who the fuck wrote this?
God damn it! I think the GD should just remain completely
Or
anonymous.
no, sorry, GD5. GD5 is Mark Twain.
What would be hilarious is if, since we talk about how the GDs shuffle in and out a lot because they're either fired or get killed, it'd be absolutely hilarious if we make a GD dossier and it's just hundreds and hundreds of lists of random names that fill positions at random times. There's no actual information about any of the characters.
We rig a bot to like add new names to it.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be hilarious if the GD all GD positions weren't created equal? So like you can be the containment slot on the global directorate and you cycle in like once every 6 months.
You could be.
Meanwhile, there's Schleckel Shlomo, the guy who's been there for 500 years, just chilling in the corner.
And there's no actual like primary person in charge. It's just fucking democracy for the GD. There's no one in charge, so that it's just fucking retarded.
And then just
when are we making
GD and you just only slotted in during that one event.
Blaren. When are we making the The IDF GOI. When are we? When is the IDF going to be a GOI?
Let's just make the Israeli internet.
What do you mean? The RPC is already cooperating with the Israeli government.
No.
No! Stop!
Like, Blue Star is already canon that Blue Star is the authority.
No! Hang on, wait.
Star?
Wait, does that mean that the Jews started World War One?
Yes, it does.
Grim. Very grim. I don't like this.
All right.
Also, we're going to maybe talk about New Corp, maybe Voice, maybe not. We're going to talk about it tonight, because I have time, and it's time to smoke some fat vapor.
Okay, let's head into general. Meeting